I thank you so much for watching Mental Magic. We'll be here every Monday afternoon from
Oh, it says
7.
off air for some reason.
It says live now. I don't know why it says that, but mine says live, so and it
Oh.
says stop broadcast. So I'm assuming we're running live. But at any rate, thank you. Welcome to Mental Magic. My name is Tala Possible, and I wanted to get everyone to introduce
Oh, now it says
themselves. Yeah.
David. Like behind it.
Okay. And
Amara.
yeah. So welcome. Yay. And then, of course, we have another co-star who is Kathy, and she'll be here momentarily. But anyway, I was going to just start off by, saying that basically what we've been doing is talking about the process of manifestation, because I know everybody here, really thought, that's what the whole show really for me has really been about, is about, your thought process. And then if you're, want to do or accomplish something in life, it's basically going to begin
Oh,
with
you
thoughts.
see my mom?
Oh, hi.
Oh, hello. How are you?
I'm okay, how are you?
Oh, yeah, just fine.
Good to see you again.
Mom, I have to be near an outlet.
I'm sorry.
I'm so sorry.
Oh, it's no big deal. We always welcome other people to come in and say hello. So it's all good. But at any rate, so I was real super excited because I had figured out some stuff, in my study. I've really been researching this stuff for a really, really long time.
Mhm.
And so, I'm a big, law of attraction fan. Hey, wow. So I guess it's clown day. I got the dog clowns behind me.
Oh.
And yeah. So the stuff that I had really been talking about, was like just basically updating the grid, because we have been talking about, the process of manifestation, and how to make, thought into reality, basically. And so, I mean, it's really very simple, but the things that I came to understand about the whole thing just in general is that, you basically, you manifest what you believe. That's basically the core of it, and so therefore it's kind of like if you want to manifest something, and it's easy, or easier, I'll say it's easier when it's something that you're already familiar with, maybe you've already done, those things are like, no big deal, because it's it's commonplace. It's like the back of your hand. You know how to do it. It's no, nothing real major. But when it comes to manifesting something that maybe you are not familiar with, or something that's kind of like outside of your territory, outside of your comfort zone, outside of your experience, then in order to manifest any belief, it's going to be based on what you think about, a certain situation. And the way to change that, if you're having trouble with it, is to change, look at and change your core belief about whatever it is that you're trying to manifest, in your life.
Mhm.
And so that was really the basis of it all. Man, I have done so much research and learned so much stuff, and I really kind of like just made a decision, because I was having some trouble with some things, and I, pretty much get to the place where I'm like, okay, well, I'm, anybody has to make a decision. So I had to make a decision. Okay, it's either going to be, I'm going to keep thinking this way about a situation, and because the way your thoughts and your beliefs run is going to determine how your outcomes keep running back through the feedback loop of the, the hologram, that we're in, or experiencing, I should say.
Mhm.
And so basically I had to make a decision, okay, do I want to keep seeing the same stuff, or do I want to keep, or start to see something different? And so that's when I had to come to that decision that, okay, well, I'm going to begin to see things in a different light. I'm no longer going to just keep looking at what has been and accepting that as like that's all there is, because it's not all there is. Things can change, so it's really up to the person.
Mhm.
Yeah. And so, oh, sorry, yeah, hit dog fur. Anyway, so God, what was I going to go with that? Oh, anyway, I don't know, y'all have any words of discussion about that or whatever, but I mean, I got to find it where I was. I kind of lost my place now.
Oh no, I completely agree. Like, if anything, it's the most difficult thing to overcome is the idea of, just because something happened in the past a certain way, that
Mhm.
means it'll probably happen the same way in the future. Like,
Right.
people like base what happened in the past.
Mhm.
People base what happens in the future based on the past.
Right.
And it's a very, very destructive mentality,
Mm-hmm.
if you will. So I believe the more people actually believe in opening their minds, the easier it is to actually, you know, lighten up their consciousness or their
Mm-hmm.
awareness of life and the possible outcomes.
Right. Exactly. And that leads me to one of the things, I'm glad you said that, because that led me to one of the things, that I found out. And I actually stumbled on this, but see, this is the whole thing about the whole enlightenment game. And I'm calling it enlightenment because really the whole concept is that we are source, but we're living that life of duality, because we're kind of like separated from source, so we don't really always realize exactly who we are. And if we fully realized who we really are, then we would know that we are source and that all possibilities exist. Everything that you're looking for, you already exist as the person that you're trying, or as whatever it is that you're trying to manifest into your experience. And so that led me, what you just said kind of led me back to the parallel realities theory, that really truly it really does all exist. And this is how I stumbled on it, which was really crazy. Okay, so in the area where I live, well, let me first just go back all the way. I love to shop organic food stores, and I have been living in this area for a year now. And in order for me to get a lot of the organic foods that I like to eat, I would have to get in my car and drive 30 minutes 35 minutes to get back to the area where I used to live at in order to go to this organic food store. And so for the longest time I just kept saying, there's got to be a solution. And so what I started to do was I started going on the internet, and I was looking up various different companies, like the individual companies of the certain foods that I would like to eat. And so I started, searching, and I would order something from here, order something from there. And I was a little bit disappointed, with doing that type of a process. And so this is the funniest thing. When you really start to swing the pendulum back in the other direction, away from, that dualistic nature of thinking that there's something wrong, there's something amiss, there's something out of order, how is this possible? Why is this not working? You know what I'm saying? When you start to swing the pendulum of positive thinking, it starts to bring your manifestations to you. And I call it sync with source. I just call it the collapsing of the duality into the unified thinking that you are one with source. And so for me, it has become a realization, and it's just so funny how your answer, whatever you're looking for, it already exists, but you have to seek it out in order to be able to find it. You know what I'm saying? And so it's just so funny how I've been here for almost a year, and I've had to go through various different things to get some of the things that I wanted. And so suddenly, as I started to, like I said, collapse my duality back into the realization that I was one with source, it's like all of a sudden, answers to various different things that I had been looking for, it's like they're just coming. And it's been amazing. And I mean, like I say, anybody looking at it may say, well, that's really, maybe it's just a coincidence, or that's not really such a big thing. But for me, it was awesome, because what happened to me is I actually saw something happen before my eyes. I shifted realities like that. And see, when you're operating in a dualistic, position, you can't see your answers sometimes, even though they be right before your eyes. And this has happened to me twice in the last week. The first one was with the, what was it I was talking about last week, where all of a sudden I just realized, well, dang, something just came to me, and I was like, oh man, it was right there the whole time. I just didn't see it. But this time, getting back to the original point I was trying to make, this time I had an email sitting in my email box. I skipped straight over it. Normally, when I get emails for various different things, I may scan it. I may just let it go by. Sometimes I just don't get it, and it doesn't seem like it's anything that really applies to me. But something about when I went through my email box, I think it was yesterday, or was the day before yesterday? Well, anyway, but I was going through my email box, and suddenly something that I had seen before, it kind of like jumped out at me. That's how I knew. I said, this must be, let me take a look at this. You know what I'm saying? Because I don't know what this is, but it just seems like for whatever reason, it has caught my attention. So it said Thrive Market. And I thought, Thrive Market. I've heard that. I saw this somewhere, but I really didn't think to really explore it. And so I open up the email, and it says, here's your welcome gift of $15 worth of free food from the Thrive Market. And I'm just saying, and when I went down through there, they have, I can't say all because I haven't searched the whole website, but they have a lot of the organic foods that I would normally go 35 minutes away from my home to try to get. They will have it shipped FedEx to my house. And I was like, how cool is that?
Awesome.
And so basically I got $15 worth of food. I just paid the shipping on it, which was $5, but still $15 worth of organic food. And that was at the discount prices. They gave me all, it was all like 50% off, 60% off. I mean, it was a real blessing to me.
Wow.
So it went to show me that I skip. Sometimes you can skip over your answers because your higher mind is trying to bring your reality that you're wishing to experience to you, but sometimes you'll skip over it because you're so far removed from yourself, which is your higher consciousness, that you'll totally miss an opportunity. So, and I know about doing this because you have to be in sync, and I think those fears, those doubts, all this stuff can separate you from your answers, so you just kind of have to stay, in sync with your higher mind so that you can get the answers that you're looking for, when you need them. And so it was just amazing because it was just like, again, boom, blinders taken off. There's my answer right there. Hello, been trying to deliver to you this answer to your organic food needs, but somehow, showed it to you a week ago, but hey, you were out there somewhere, so we had to try to track you down somehow. We knew we knew you'd come back eventually, with your higher mind, synced in with your higher mind. You eventually see the answer. So it was just so funny to me. I was like, wow, it blew me away. So yeah, that was one of the things. And so basically that's really, where I am with the whole thing, because I just had to once again realize that is just truly the answer, is just being synced up with your higher mind, whatever it is that you're trying to accomplish, it can be projected into this reality, and you can accomplish whatever it is you want to accomplish. But I guess you first just have to be willing to, take a moment to tune in, you know what I'm saying, to find your answer. So anybody else with words on that note while I'm looking for something else here?
No, I completely agree. Like, it's so difficult to be able to, at times to find the answer, especially if you've been training yourself to feel comforts when you, are negative. And like you feel sorry for yourself, but that is almost like drinking poison. You're limiting yourself. You're causing yourself to feel like there's a higher obstacle in which you can't, overcome.
Exactly. Yeah. That's a perfect example, and that's exactly what I'm talking about. So I just spent also about 2 hours listening to this little teleconference type of thing, and much to my amazement, once again, here was a gentleman, talking about the road that he had come down, and I mean, he wasn't even talking about the law of attraction at all, but he had the principles, and that just goes to show you this is not something that is new, nor is it something that is just, I guess, recognizable to people who recognize or acknowledge the law of attraction, or it's a consciousness thing, you know what I'm saying? So even though a person may not necessarily be into consciousness or whatever spirituality, or whatever, but he was just talking about, the power of your positive mindset, and that, same thing, your core beliefs. He had to change his beliefs. When he got up in the morning, he would meditate on what it was that he wanted to accomplish. And he says, I do it every day. And he said that I knew that in order for me to be successful, I was going to have to talk to myself, especially in the areas where I was experiencing fear or in the areas where I was trying to step outside of my comfort zone. I just, first of all, I had to know what it was that I wanted. And what he wanted to do was to sell real estate. And he was just like, when I first got started, I really didn't know a whole lot about it, but I just knew I wanted to succeed. And he said he focused his energy towards that particular goal in mind. And then he had to go from there. He had stumbling blocks. And he was just saying, there were times when, I didn't even know what I was going to do, but I had to just carry on. And every morning, like I say, when he got up in the morning, he had to keep doing those affirmations, of positive thinking that, okay, I'm going to sell, buy and sell 2 houses this month, so he had a goal, and he had to keep repeating that. And, he said, and without fail, as long as he, kept, doing that, it was like it did not fail to occur. You see what I'm saying? So he was doing and, what I'm saying, exercising his power of positive thinking and belief, the whole time he was doing it. And now, he's seeing the fruits of that. He said, yeah, at first it can be hard, but, if you're committed to it and you stick with it and you don't turn back from it, then you will find success, basically was his whole thing. And the other guy that was talking with him was saying that you cannot look at where you've been and say that there's something that you cannot do. And this person was a person who had been in prison for 7 years for selling drugs in Tampa, Florida. And not the original guy, but the other guy that he brought on, who was also doing the real estate investing. And he said, if you just look at my testimony, I mean, I didn't know any better. This is something that I was just doing as a kid, just trying to make some quick, easy money. And then I went to prison and I had nothing but time on my hands. So he said, I read every book I could, in the prison library on how to buy real estate. And he said, if you had looked at my past and you would have judged me and said, well, I can't succeed. Well, yeah, there are some things that, people may look at you and say, well, you're going to have to kind of, work. I mean, there's nothing that you can't succeed at, even with a prison, record or whatever. But the whole point is that people may have looked at him and said, well, you'll never succeed because you've got a prison record, nobody's going to hire you and all that. But guess what? He went over and beyond what anybody thought that he would ever do in his life. So he went beyond just a job. Any Tom, Dick, and Harry can do that with perfect credit, no criminal history, blah, blah, blah. So here he is with a 7-year prison felon straight off the street. He had been out of prison 18 months before he bought his first house for $2,500. And then after that, he just went on and on and on. So it was just a real powerful testimony, to the perseverance and the mindset, of a person that does not give up regardless of circumstances. So I thought that was so beautiful. Anyway, yeah. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
It's kind of a scary thing to, just cling on to faith when, that's all you have seemingly. But that sometimes is the only thing that you need to get you through. So.
Yeah. Yeah, it really is. I mean, because sometimes if you think about it, I don't know if anybody's ever been in a situation, other than me, where your back was up against the wall and at some point in time you just had to just surrender. You know what I'm saying? Because at some point in time it's just like there's nothing else you can do except put your foot out, in faith. There's just nothing else you can do. So it's just like, okay, well, hey, it's sink or swim at this point. I've done everything I can do. I really don't even see a way out. However, I'm just going to have to get up and take another step and go another day, and then somehow you magically, come out on the other side like, dang, how'd I do that? Yeah.
Exactly.
So, yeah.
Almost surreal.
I think that something that you could easily relate that to is whenever you're looking for your car keys or your phone or for your remote, anytime you're looking for something like that, you always know, okay, well, I know for a fact that it's here in the house, or I know for a fact that it's here in my car. But the problem is I just need to find it, so I have to turn over everything, and I have to retrace my steps, and I have to look in places that I normally wouldn't expect it to be. Have I looked in the, the refrigerator? Have I looked in the cabinets? Have I looked under the bed? Have I looked in the the couch cushions? And I mean, I think the same thing can be said about solutions to problems that you have in your life. If you take that and then you applied it to life, think about it like this: the solution to your problem can be found in a much more vast area. Your house is only so vast; it can only be, maybe 10,000 square feet. Whereas if you look into, the universe and you look planet-wide and statewide and city-wide, there's a lot of different places that you can go to find that solution. But you just got to not get tired of looking for that solution. You got to know that it's there, but you just got to keep looking, because you know that it's here somewhere. But just like those keys in your house, is going to be somewhere out there in the world, somewhere your solution to your problem. So you just got to keep looking. I think people get tired of looking when they don't see it right in front of them. But I think they need to think back to the last time they looked for their keys. You're not going, if your keys were sitting right in front of you the whole time, you never lost them. So sometimes you have to go out and look past where you normally see it in order to find what you've been looking for.
Yeah. This is the truth, I tell you. But I guess the main thing is that, I mean, like you say, if you take the time to, just calm yourself, because a lot of times, all that fear and worry and, anxiety, I guess you would say, is what you can't hear from, what I'm saying? You can't think straight, because all the fear, worry, and anxiety, is all that you can, it's pervading your consciousness, and you can't hear the still small voice that says, look in the cabinet. Remember, you were standing next to the cabinet when you got that glass, you slung your keys in there, not thinking, it was just kind of like a subconscious, no thinking type of moment. And, I tell you, it's that same, exactly. It's that same thing, so when you're separated out there, doing all this crazy stuff, thinking your answer's here, it's over there, or maybe over there, you're freaking out, stressing out, pulling your hair out, that type of stuff. Sometimes you just have to come back to that realization that, just take a quiet moment to just clear your mind, quiet your mind, what I'm saying, the physical mind. This is what I'm talking about, the physical mind, because you do have that connection to your super consciousness, which will tell you, where your answer is, where to look, and it'll bring it and put it right in front of your face. But you just got to be tuned in. If you're not tuned in, like I say, I had been missing so much stuff. And, even with, oh, hey, Kathy, yay, you made it. We're yakking already. So, ladies and gentlemen, Kathy is here. So, Kathy, we already introduced ourselves. We mentioned that we were Mental Magic television show, and we already did our individual introduction, so we'll let you do yours, and we're just talking about super consciousness.
Okay, cool. Well, I don't know what to say about myself, but yeah, my name's Kathy. I'm very interested in many aspects of the metaphysical and spirituality and stuff, and open to learning more. And yeah, that's pretty much it. I don't know. I don't want to go too deep, but yeah, that's cool.
That's okay. That's cool. I mean, for right now, we just gave a brief introduction, just who we really were, our names. We didn't really go into too much of, I guess, like where, nothing about where you live or anything like that. So, I mean, but we were just really talking about, I was talking about some manifestation subjects, especially following up on the last thing that I discovered last week. And I just got done telling them about how, I've been living here in this area for a year. And I think I told you about it, how I like to shop the organic food store, but I'm not always able to get there. So it's been a difficulty for me because I miss my foods, and I've been forced to shop at Walmart, which, not to diss, I'm saying, anybody's brand, but they don't sell foods like what I'm used to eating. I get their fruits and vegetables and stuff like that, and there's products that I buy out of there, and I don't have a problem with that. But there are certain specialty foods that I like to eat that I haven't been able to get all the time, and I was missing that. And I'm like, that's it's a valuable part of my experience, because those are things that I love, and it gives me joy, to be able to have those things as a part of my experience. And so I was telling them about how, I watched my reality. I shifted into one of the parallel realities that already exist. It happened right in front of my eyes. It was kind of like I blinked, and suddenly I saw something that I had not seen before. I saw it, but I didn't see it. You see what I'm saying? So it's like when you're not connected, when you are living the dualistic nature of the separation from your source and your higher mind, you'll miss opportunities because you just can't see it because of either fear, worry, anxiety, or whatever it is that's separating you, that's causing you not to be able to take that quiet moment to hear and to see, be able to see when something is coming into your experience. You'll totally miss it.
Right.
And so I had seen an email in my box probably about, I would say that it had to have been at least 3 or 4 days ago. And I looked at it, but I kind of looked past it. I didn't really think about, well, what is this?
Right.
And so then yesterday, I think it was yesterday, I looked in my box and realized that it was from Thrive Market. And so Thrive sent me an email saying, here's your free gift of $15 worth of organic food, excuse me, I'm sorry, and you just pay the shipping on it. They ship it to my house, FedEx. And so I was like, wow, how did I not see this? This is the answer to the issue that I was dealing with not being able to get certain things. Let me tell you, they have these seaweed snacks. They're seaweed sheets. It's not for sushi. They bake them to the place where it takes the place of potato chips. So if you ever get a craving for potato chips, you can eat these crispy seaweed sheets with sea salt instead.
Nice.
And they sell
kale chips like people make.
Yeah, exactly. Just like, well, yes, very, very similar to that. And so this is stuff that I haven't been able to get out here. And for a long time, I've been like, man, this is kind of frustrating for me because, but I knew that there had to be an answer, but I was just like, God, I had just gotten used to just going across the street and shopping and just getting what I could get. You know what I'm saying? And we all know that, your experience is supposed to be happy and blissful, and you should be able to definitely, regardless of your circumstances, get those things that bring you happiness. And those just happen to be some of the things that make me happy, is those seaweed sheets. I love those things. And so I got the $15 coupon, and I went onto their site. I got my seaweed sheets. I got a chocolate toffee bar that I used to buy out of the health food store. It's just a chocolate bar with natural, organic cocoa made out of organic chocolate or whatever, and it's got toffee chips in it, and it's delicious. And I have not had one in so long because, of course, I haven't been able to get to my store. So it was just amazing how I just blinked in on it and was like, hey, wait a minute, what's this? And when I looked, got blessed with $15 for the food. Like I said, it doesn't sound like a whole lot with organic food because it is more expensive, I just have to say. However, I don't...
how the saying goes?
Hmm?
You know how the saying goes?
What saying?
Well, yeah.
Saying goes, it's better to pay more now than pay a doctor later.
Well, yeah, I was going to say, and sometimes, cheap anything is not always the best, you know what I'm saying? So sometimes you have to spend that extra dollar to get food that actually makes you feel good. You know what I mean? Because, I even visibly noticed that if I don't know, this is just something I noticed. If I go and smell some raw meat at a regular chain grocery store, it has a funky little odor to it. And I'm like, what is that little odor? It would kind of be comparable to if you go to a fish market and everything smells like fish and you're like, it stinks in here. I'm just saying. Now, if you've never had this experience, then go to an organic store and smell their chicken. It's a totally different smell, and it doesn't even taste the same. And it was something that I noticed, and it's just certain foods that I just prefer to eat. Like I say, I don't see anything wrong if, you do what you can do, whatever your experience is, you just do what you can do when you can do it, and be thankful for what you can do, at the moment. But know that you can upgrade and you can change, if you feel like it, or if your desire is to do that. So I'm just saying, I was just giving yet another example of how I missed an opportunity simply because I was not really turned on and tuned in to my higher consciousness. I was, out here somewhere, like Source is at the center. and I'm like over here somewhere, leaning out, hanging out over here, going, man, this sure does suck. I can't find no organic market in my neighborhood. Oh man, this sure does suck, And but then
Outside
I
of the
came over here.
vortex.
Right.
So you
So
pop back in.
yeah, so that was really my whole point about, the concept of non-duality, is that we have a higher consciousness that we can tap into, to accomplish whatever it is that we're trying to accomplish. But we just have to take a moment, just that brief moment, that if you're worried, anxious, depressed, whatever, to quiet the mind, just say, what, let me just chill for a minute. Let me just take a moment to just relax and think, and then eventually, it'll come to you, if you give it, your higher mind or your higher consciousness the opportunity to, show you what it is that you seek, So that's basically been my thing. Yeah. So I'm trying to hang out there, around all situations in my life, especially about money, because I'm just saying, I know that that's like the biggest issue for a lot of people. I know money is not the most important thing in the whole world, because like I say, you can be poor and you can be unhappy, you can be rich and be unhappy as well. So
and
you want
you
to
can be rich and be piss poor morally.
Right. Yeah. So, money is not the biggest issue in the whole world, but it's an issue that a lot of people are dealing with.
Yeah.
And so I've been really tuning into that aspect of it, because I want to see a change for myself in that particular area. Because, I'm, for the most part, a very, giddy type of person. I have my moments, but for the most part, I feel like I have a pretty good time, But when it comes to, there's certain little areas that I would like to see improvement in, and I want to get synced up, with source in those particular, areas, to see what I've been missing.
Mhm.
Because obviously I have missed the, the, what I'm saying? I've missed some things in those particular areas. So anyway, but that's it. Anybody else have anything to say about that? I've been stopping to pause and see if anybody else had anything, they want to
Well,
share.
I remember Kathy had a part that she said she wanted to say for tonight. So
Yeah.
go ahead and let her go ahead and start.
Yeah.
I wanted to, I guess, share a bit of a video. I don't know, for some reason, like, you know how you get inspiration from certain people that you come across, certain pieces and stuff. And this kind of caught my attention, but I need to switch from my phone to the laptop. So just give me one moment.
Yeah.
Oh, swap.
Yep. Awesome. So anybody else, while we're waiting on that, anybody else have any little example or quick example of something that they've seen or experienced, or, what I'm saying?
As far as what?
Oh, just any kind of manifestation, anything that you came to a realization about in your own consciousness, just anything.
Well, mostly just the fact that I'm starting to feel like I need to move more close to the politics in my life, and I really feel like I do need to continue to step and make more moves, politically. So definitely working through this Young Americans for Liberty thing is going to be definitely instrumental for the next few years and moving forward. So.
Yeah.
I'm thinking that I can probably find somebody in one of these, organizations to groom me up and, help me out to be more, of a political leader and somebody who's definitely starting to, show potential and things like that. So hopefully that'll, start coming along in the next couple of years here.
Oh yeah, most definitely. I believe it will, because I don't know what it is about you and that whole political arena, but it just, for some reason, it just seems like, I told you that before, it's like, even when that guy, was talking about, he would, be willing to recommend you, for the school and all that, and I was thinking, wow, and then it just seems like, how they call these synchronicities,
Right.
It's kind of like, it might have been your life path, what I'm saying, your life goal, or something that you had set when you came here, as something that you were planning on doing with your life. And it just kind of seems like, if you will, that the stars keep lining up in that direction for whatever reason. And I just keep noticing it. And I'm like, I just don't think that this is a coincidence. I think that this is something that you must have been choosing, when you came here. It's got to be, because why does it keep popping up over and over and over again? So it's worth looking into. What's really going on here? Higher mind.
Well, I think that the game naturally comes to me. I think that just playing, my cards right and things like that is something that I think comes to me naturally. I think a lot of people go into it as amateurs, and I think that I just have, that ability to influence people more so than, the average person that tries to just jump out and get involved in it. So I think I definitely have an edge already. Really.
Yeah. Well, hey, I just say keep an open mind and explore all your possibilities, because all I know is that all people were meant to live their highest excitement. Whatever excites you the most is what you should take up in your life, even if you were motivated to do nothing but paint pictures. Then for whatever reason, if that's what your life is if you wake up in the morning and your heart is just singing because you're painting a picture, then obviously you need to follow that trail, because your higher consciousness is trying to tell you something. And see, the preconceived concept about an artist is that they have to be starving. But if that's what you came here to do, then obviously your provision will be made in following that track. And so that's one thing that even me and Kathy had talked about at one point in time, because people will be on the outside of you pressuring you to do all this stuff because that's what they think you're supposed to do. We go to high school, we finish high school, then we go to college. But see, your heart might not be telling you about college. Look at, so all these people, Bill Gates, various different people who they went there, and all of a sudden the light came on. They were like, this is not me. This is not my life path or whatever. I was meant to go do this right here. And they followed that dream, and look where it ended up. You know what I'm saying? And I'm just talking, those are some of the biggest ones. And then let's look at Wendy Williams. Wendy Williams, I remember her testimony about how she got into, the whole television deal. She started out in radio. And she was doing radio. And I can't remember exactly what it was that she was offered. But when she thought about it, she just said, I couldn't do it because I knew that my heart was over here. And so look where it ended her up at. She followed her heart, you know what I'm saying, to her highest excitement. And that's where her provision was made. You see what I'm saying? So
Right.
You can never go wrong. You can go wrong by doing stuff that other people deem is acceptable in society for you to do. That's why, it's so funny for me to watch, shows about parenting and stuff like that. You see these parents that are always pressing their kids that just because I'm a doctor, just because I'm a lawyer, just because I work a job, doesn't mean that I need to pressure my child into being a doctor, lawyer, work a job, because that may not be their highest excitement. So why, push them down into a box to push them to have a miserable experience that they did not come here to have. So sometimes you just have to give people the freedom and realize they have common enough sense, and even if they get out here and make some mistakes, then so be it. That was part of your journey to get to wherever you were going. So I think people are tripping too much.
You know what? Another thing is, I think that something else that goes along with what you are saying is that people usually always tell me I have like a business or a political image to myself, as far as just the way I carry myself. And even no matter how crazy I've got my hairstyles, usually people always still tell me I have some kind of, a aura to me that just has some kind of authoritativeness and this sort of an aura of class and things like that. So that's definitely something that I think I was definitely gifted with as far as that's concerned. So
And then
that'll definitely help me out in the future.
Right. And then even if you go down that path and you decide, because the path is never like this. It's never a straight line in your path. Your path is always, you know what I'm saying? You do this, you do that, you kind of flitter around like a little butterfly. Some people are born and they know exactly what they want to do from Jump Street. Some people, go here. But still, even if you know what you want to do from the day you were born, you're still going to go here and there and here and there and get different pieces of experience to get to that final destination. So everybody should just relax. Just relax and live your highest excitement. Whatever the next, like Bashar says, whatever the next most exciting thing it feels like it is for you to do that. Even if it's jumping from here to there to here to there to here to there. If that's excitement to you, go do it. Just be happy, you
For
know.
sure.
Okay.
I,
So
I
anyway.
think it's about like yeah, the journey of life.
Mhm.
It's never about like the mountain, but it's like how
Right.
you got there, how you got up there and stuff. And like even though some people may I'm coming to find out, more and more how hard it is really to get on that on, finding those things that, for some people it's easy to know what you want to do in life, but for some
Mhm.
other people you got to dig. But
Mhm.
then besides the digging, you have to kind of get through these blocks that have been created,
Mhm.
that I mean that you've probably created or that maybe in past lives have been created
Mhm.
that still exist that need to be worked out before you can go fully, forward in things because it's baggage. It's what's holding people back.
Mhm. Mhm.
And yeah, and I think that's probably what it is mostly. Is just people that need to deal with this stuff, yet they push it to the side. They're used. It's like a habit. Like they're used to going into autopilot of like, oh well, there's that thing. It's coming up again. Okay, whatever. And it just drags even more and more until the day they say, okay, wait a minute. I need to, something's this keeps coming up. I need to, deal with this. What is this that's trying to get my attention? And then healing takes place, or
Mhm.
liberation of something takes place, and they move forward.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know. Okay, so I guess I'll start with my piece. I had sent you guys a link to a video, and it was on an artist, and she, Marina Abramovich. She does something called performance art, which is where people or where artists will have um, pick a venue and within a frame of time perform what art they want people to see
Mhm.
basically. And it's live art. It's it has people there witnessing it, fans or critics or whoever, and even those people become part of what art they wish to portray, which was very interesting actually. And the video I had seen on Facebook was of her. It was the piece was the artist is present, where she sits across a stranger for 1 minute and shares a moment of silence, basically just staring,
Oh
being
yeah.
present,
Mhm.
which I thought was really cool and interesting. Some people might not get it, but I mean, I thought that was really really
I
cool. And
watched it. Yeah.
there was a little bit of a surprise where there was another artist that showed up that back in the 70s she had a relationship with. They had fallen in love together, and I think they had a 12-year relationship or 9-year relationship, and very intense, very passionate. They did artwork together, and they had decided to go separate ways. And he decided to, I guess, surprise her and showed up, and they did share that 1 minute, and it was just kind of amazing to see the emotions that played across her face after such a
Mhm.
long time. You can still feel certain things that were very I guess very intense or very significant in your life.
Mhm.
But I decided I wanted to just look into this artist because I was just wondering, who she was, what work she did, just wondering. And I had found that she's what do I want to start with first off? Hang on. She's actually very well known. She's known as the grandmother of performance art. I'm gonna see if I can do a share here, and
Mhm.
I just wanted to understand like her perspective, because artists they have a different perception of things, which is why they can create art with different mediums and stuff, and try to share what they feel or what they want others to feel.
Mhm.
And here I'm gonna go with this video first, and she's interviewed by James Franco. I don't know if you guys heard of him, an actor. He's been in a lot of movies actually. Well, the last few years. I can't think of any right now, but I guess maybe you guys would recognize him.
Mhm.
Pineapple Express and some other movies. Yeah.
Pineapple Express, right? His brother came out in what is it? 21st Jump Street, 21st Jump Street, and
21 Jump
yeah,
Street?
21 Jump
Oh,
Street.
it's about that newer version. You talking about the old? Because see, there's two versions.
Mm-hmm.
21 Jump Street used to be a show back in the day, like in the
Right,
90s or something. But then they came with a new movie though. So you're talking
right.
about the movie, the one that just came
Yeah,
out. Oh, okay,
yeah.
yeah, all right.
His brother
Yeah.
was actually featured in that one, which was kind of interesting. But
I
yeah,
actually used to love that show, 21 Jump Street.
I heard it was a good
Girls,
show. It was like
it was
Johnny
cute.
Depp and someone else
Yeah,
that were
Johnny
the
Depp.
original.
Yeah, exactly. I forgot that lady's name, but she was good.
I was gonna screen share, but it's not working on my computer.
Is it
Okay.
because we're? Wait a minute.
Oh wait, here we go. I'm gonna go through YouTube.
Yeah, I don't
That's
even
what I was gonna do
see.
anyway.
Oh, okay. Okay. Use app. YouTube needs your permission to continue to start. Wait a minute. Oh my
Okay.
goodness.
I got it going. I think I need to.
How does that work?
How do you look up the video?
Accept. Continue. Oh, okay. I think I did mine. In the middle of my screen, it said you have to use the app, and I just clicked on that.
Mhm.
And yeah, so now I can see your YouTube share on my screen. So.
You got it. Okay, cool.
Wait, I didn't know
James
you have to
Franco.
do that.
Amara, are you using your phone? Did anything pop up in the middle of your screen to show you to use this or whatever? That's what I'm kind of wondering because hers may not have that embedded ability like on a phone. That's what I'm thinking.
Wait, can y'all see it right now?
If I clicked on that thing that popped up in my middle of the screen, it said use app.
Mhm.
You don't see the
I'm
thing?
using the app on my phone. I can't
Oh.
see. Huh?
Can y'all see it?
What just happened?
My
Y'all all went mute.
Yeah, because she started playing a video.
Oh yeah, yeah. The video. When the video plays, the sound will go down, and then whenever somebody talks, it'll like be like, I don't know, the mic will come out louder. But I paused it. I don't really want to watch the entire video, but there's a couple parts I guess that were kind of interesting. Anyways, James Franco is here interviewing her, and this was in 2009. Before she had her that one piece, the artist is present, before that one even took place. So I'm gonna start here.
Are you seeing it?
Mm-mm.
Wow. I didn't think my mic would still be working.
Yeah, but our phones aren't connected to the video share thing. So.
So these two are just over here doing their own thing.
Mhm.
Meanwhile, we just gotta sit here in silence.
Exactly. Just pretend as if we see the video.
What are you eating?
La-di-da-di-da.
I wonder how long this is gonna take. You know, I gotta shave my goatee for McDonald's. I'm about to be so upset.
Why?
Cause I don't know. I guess it's uniform standards that they have. So,
That's
well, I mean, I'm gonna be at the cashier's register. So I guess that's
oh.
just a front image type of thing there. So.
But that's so stupid because I understand like the facial hair thing if you're cooking the food, like you don't
Yeah.
want your hair to get in the food, but you're in front of the register. Why would they be lenient if you're cooking the food?
I'm not sure. I would just imagine that they probably just want me to keep up the image of the company, so, you know.
That's so stupid. They
But
all want you to look like you're prepubescent taking their orders. Like I don't. I'm not saying that you look prepubescent, but I mean, like.
I'm not sure. So I'm just gonna go ahead and get rid of the goatee so I can make some moolah. I'm pimping my goatee for some quick money there. So
Okay.
you know,
Okay. Go right ahead, sir.
hopefully it'll be back after a few weeks when we get back in school, so I won't have to look like a baby forever, and also have a mustache.
Because your hair grows slow, your chin hair grows slow too.
Yeah. Well, hold up. Well, yeah, it'll grow pretty slow.
There's some growth oils that you can use. Wild growth oil. If you can get that from the beauty store, just rub that around your chin. It'll help it to grow.
It don't really matter to me.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Or take biotin. Or hairfinity.
I think I'm just gonna shave my whole entire head, like get rid of all my hair, get rid of all mustache,
You're
goatee,
gonna look like
eyebrows,
your baby picture.
eyelashes, all that.
You're gonna look exactly like your baby picture.
How do you think?
You're gonna look like the emoji, the black moon face that smiles.
Why are you laughing at my pain?
No, it's so funny.
Ha ha.
You will be twinning with that emoji.
Ha ha ha. You're very funny.
I know. I'm absolutely hilarious.
Okay.
Wrap the gold around
Yeah. Oh, yeah. They were making some kind of a.
Welcome back, guys.
Sorry about that.
I hear y'all talking the whole time about, I gotta cut my goatee. Why are you laughing at my pain? I'm like trying so hard to listen to what the people in the video were saying. I'm like, oh my God.
It's all good.
So anyway, the lady, what was she saying about your higher consciousness? You have to put your all into your performing art or whatever?
Yeah. Basically, she was explaining, because he was asking about when she performs, like what happens, what takes place, what's the difference, because he's an actor, but yet she performs things live in front of people for like hours at a time, like 6,
Isn't that amazing?
5 hours. Yeah, and I thought it was interesting. I've never heard of it before, which I was like, that's pretty different. I don't know. But she basically explains she does the things that she doesn't like. In the beginning of her career, she did a lot of things that were a bit more dark, that, probably didn't make sense to a lot of people, but was her interpretation of certain things. And she explained that, doing things that you don't like, that's when things become interesting. You do the same thing always, like, being in your comfort zone, ain't nothing going to change, nothing different, it's going to pop up or whatever. But she would do things that would require her to really push her mind or her body, she explained, she prepares herself, before her performance to really get, I guess, anxious or scared to know that it's really happening, to really get her amped up, I guess, to realize that, everything that's going to happen right then and there is what's going to happen. And like she explained, her low self, when performing, is no longer there, which is I'm guessing our everyday pilot kind of self.
Right, the physical mind. The ego.
Right, but when you perform, you're in your high self. That's the essence of all. Your purest form, because
awesome.
It's like you're taking off your mask or whatever, and then and everything that happens in that space and time is part of the piece. It's part of the performance.
Isn't that amazing? Yeah.
Which I thought that was pretty powerful. I don't know, like, I mean, her stuff is very different, but I'm like that's pretty interesting philosophy, and then to do that every day as your job, finding the next greatest thing to kind of bring people into the experience with you.
Yeah.
She actually,
I like that.
Yeah, and she actually also, they say her protege was or is Lady Gaga. Lady Gaga spends months at a time doing the Abramovic method, which is like heightening your awareness, being in the moment, doing different meditations, doing different techniques and stuff. And also she did a performance art piece with Jay-Z, which became one of his music videos for Picasso Baby.
Okay.
And I actually think it came out really good. So if you guys are interested in looking at that was actually a really interesting video, because he performs on a platform basically, and there's like a perimeter around where all the people surround them, and all the proceeds were to go to her institute, because she has I guess an art school. And basically he has different people come in one at a time as he's performing the song, and he does this for 5 or 6 hours, and he gets to interact with them as he's performing. And it's kind of fun, because they had like dancers, they had actors come in there and sit, they had kids come there, dancing or just interacting with him during the whole thing. And I think it came out pretty great. In the video, she seems to react to it as like it was a success and everything, but later I find out through another video that she actually was very disappointed, I guess, in how it was portrayed. That she had commented on or tweeted that he never came through and did the donation, or that's not how things were supposed to go, and she'd never do it again, which I found to be very interesting, because I'm like, you have something that you perceive.
Mhm.
And then when you have all these different people, the way they interpret it is like maybe completely different from what you perceive it as,
Mhm.
you know? Which is
Yeah.
very interesting because it's like one person can see it as one thing and then another person can see it completely different.
Exactly.
I think it came out great, to be honest, but
Yeah.
you know, people see different things, right?
Right.
So I don't know. I thought it was very interesting, and so I thought I
Yeah.
would, share that. But
Well, yeah.
anyway.
Well, Amara can tell you about that, the whole perceiver, perceived, perception,
Mhm.
issue of duality.
Right.
I mean, you're the one
Mhm.
who's making the perception. So the perception is not happening to you. You're perceiving and creating that reality. So, I mean, I don't know
Right.
what could have potentially took place to make this whole thing work that way in her eyes. But
Right.
I mean, I cannot have any real discourse on it because I mean, things happen to all of us,
Mhm.
and we have to choose how we're going to, deal with things in a certain moment,
Respond to
so
it.
I
Right.
mean, she may just have to just say, okay, well, hey, thank God I was able to do something
Right.
to experience another experience for myself. Now, what
Mhm.
he does or what he does in the future, that's up to him. But at
Mhm.
this point, I've done what I felt like was what I wanted to do with it. So she may just have to let it ride. I
Oh
heard other people
yeah,
talk
most
about stuff like that
definitely.
too, where, things didn't work out the way they thought it would. And,
Mhm.
you can
Most
either suffer
definitely.
disappointment behind it and let it be a setback to you, or you can just move forward, but you can't
Right.
control what somebody else is going to do. So you just have to say, okay, well, hey, whatever.
Mhm. Yeah, I mean,
It's tough.
the way I interpreted that was like, I don't know what went through her mind, but
Hmm.
I think it was part of her ego in which she maybe what was I gonna say? Oh gosh, where she was kind of like, this is the way she wanted it to go, and she's used to
Hmm.
performing by herself and
Hmm.
not so much with this different medium of music,
Right.
and fans of other people that are known in the modern society as being very very mainstream and like famous and
Hmm.
stuff,
Hmm.
that maybe that got to her, that it wasn't totally what she wanted it to be, or
Hmm.
maybe that I don't know, that because it seemed as though he outshined the whole thing because of his music,
Hmm.
but it was the interaction that was her part that played into it. I don't know. I have no idea. I think it went really great, to be honest.
Yeah.
It was a very interesting video, but
Hmm.
okay. But yeah, I'll send you guys
Right.
the links, and you guys could check it out.
Yeah, most
Say
definitely.
what you think and stuff. But anyways,
Mm-hmm.
that's my little piece.
Yeah. But oh my gosh, I mean,
Yeah.
that's a perfect example of the perception, the perceiver, and the perceived. I mean,
Mhm.
there's nothing more perfect than that I can think of. And what's funny is that, your individual perception of something is one reality. But then
Mhm.
when you start to bring other people into, the hologram with you, it becomes a whole nother dynamic. You know what I mean? I'm not talking about that situation. I'm just talking about any dynamic, any situation. When you start to bring other people in, you've got a lot of different perceptions going on. And that's where, that communication and that
Right.
understanding and really being synced with source is going to help you, to be able to
Mhm.
flow with all kinds of different people, because everybody's coming from everybody's got all this stuff. If you think about how much stuff is floating around in all of these personalities, egos, you know what I'm saying, these
Mhm.
mindsets and stuff, you just don't know what you're really going to have to deal with. But I think, if you stick close to source in any given situation, you can view them through the eyes of neutrality. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And you
Mhm.
won't have to judge a situation, because if you look at it, this is another prime example. Abraham and the Secret. You know how she talked about how Abraham was one of the original contributors to the Secret, but however, before they got ready to release the Secret to the world, they cut basically Abraham's part out. And so I love the way that Esther Hicks dealt with that. She said, I love her. I wish it had been a different way. However, guess what happened? Even though her part ended up getting cut out, it still drove even more people back to her. You see what I'm saying?
Mhm.
So it served
True.
its purpose. So it
Right.
all depends on your perception of a situation. You can take what
Mhm.
somebody does and say and take it as a subjective or victim type thing and say this is something that someone did to me, but she chose to see it perceive it in such a way that actually this whole thing, even though it went this way, it actually brought people to me. So it still served
Either
me.
way, so it's
Right.
all good anyways because it's the same message.
Exactly.
But I guess why people would take that in such a bad way is ego driven too, because it's like it doesn't have my name on it. Why was I kicked out of it? You know, kind of thing. And it's like, was it really about the message, or is it really about you? In some instances, I guess.
Yeah.
But, yeah.
And that's something I'm learning too.
That's interesting.
Because believe me, being a parent, it's for so many years. I mean, you worry about this, you worry about that, you worry, are you doing the best thing? Are you making the best choices? Did you teach your child the best thing? It's so funny because I sat for the longest time, sometimes, and even cried about some of the stuff that I felt like I actually put my child through. But in the end of it all, come to find out, that boy wouldn't listen to half the shit I said anyway.
Oh, man.
No, I'm saying that in a good way. Because, see, I raised him in the Christian church. I was so religious, let me tell you. I was Sunday morning, Wednesday evening, Friday evening. Anytime the church doors were open, if I had gas in my car, I was up in that piece, okay?
Dedicated.
Yes, I was. Pretty much, yes, I was. It was that serious for a while.
Okay, maybe in like 01, 02, 03.
Well, I did the best I could to always be up in there.
09
Okay, but
she experienced a period of time where that was her focus right there.
Right.
That's where she
but
was
let me tell you,
first Bush administration, yes,
but
Obama. No.
But hold on. Let me tell you the rest of the story, though. Okay, so I was so immersed in it until, let me tell you, this is the funniest story I think I've told. I think it was just like totally outrageous and outlandish.
Story you told us
I was so I was so afraid, like when Harry Potter came out. And everybody in the church was like, "Oh no, we don't send our kids to see Harry Potter. We don't believe in Harry Potter. That's witchcraft. It's about witches and warlocks and demons and all that kind of stuff." I mean, totally freaking out. So David was like, "I want to watch Harry Potter." I was like, "Oh no, we don't watch Harry Potter. Harry Potter is witchcraft." I mean, that's how. And I'm
I still am involved in witchcraft.
Oh my God. And so, I mean, I'm just saying, whatever your reality is, if that's what you choose, okay, that's fine.
I actually had a dude hit me up on Facebook talking about he wanted to discuss magic with me the other day.
Oh, really?
You can learn some things. You can learn some things.
I'm good.
Because there are some elements of magic that,
I didn't know people spelled it with a K at the end. That's weird to me.
Yeah.
I think that's more of a European thing. Just like some people they'll write color with U in it. Like Canadians and Europeans and stuff. But I mean, it's all in your what you experience. The thing is, people will take something and because they're not being aware or being open to the fact that maybe things aren't always as this person says it is. This is simply one interpretation of what this may be. And so when someone tells them something, it freaks them out. They're like, "Wait a minute, oh my gosh!" And then that turns them off on the whole thing, which probably turns into a block. But instead of doing research, like, wait a minute, let me just see what this is about. I don't have to believe in it, but I could read on it and just see. But who knows? I mean, whatever draws you.
Because, now this is the other thing that I wanted to say too, though. But listen, hold on, just one more thing. Non-duality. Let me tell you something about the world that you live in. No. Hold on. Let me just tell you one more thing. There is nothing good or bad in and of itself. It takes a perceiver to perceive something as being evil or good. You know what I'm saying? People take things and turn it into evil. Things are not evil in and of themselves. If I hold a candle in my hand, a candle can be used for light, or a candle could be used for an incantation to curse someone, but it can also be used as a,
in a ceremony for marriage or something.
Whatever.
Yeah.
I mean, just people make things what they are. Anyway, so go ahead. I'm sorry, I had to just interject.
Well, basically, I was going to say that now what he did say is that magic is like a tool. He said that it's basically whoever is using it can use it for good or bad. So basically, I was going to say what you were about to say.
Yeah. I couldn't help it. I just had to go there because I'm like, man.
But anyway,
that was one of the realizations I came
in your time parenting, really the majority of what I learned came from newspapers and Google.
So see, I was all worried about nothing because see, you can't. You still are not able to block someone
You
else's
weren't hardly teaching
consciousness.
me nothing anyway.
But I'm
All
just
you were
saying.
doing was saying what not to do, and I
Oh
was
my
learning most stuff
lord.
from
And
Google
that's
and
another
with it.
thing too. The more you tell somebody not to do
Not to do
something,
it, the
the
closer they
more
run
they're
to
gonna
it.
want to do it. So it doesn't
Exactly.
really. So I mean, that's why the principles of some dogmas, and I'm not saying just one particular thing, but when you get wrapped up into something so much to the place where it's controlling your whole life, when you can choose that for yourself if you choose that, and it will become your reality. But when you try to push it onto someone else, you cannot force someone else's consciousness
Hmm.
to accept that as absolute truth. They're
Hmm.
gonna say, I don't know. Let me think about some other things too, just to check and
Right.
see if what you're talking about is the truth, or if I want to accept something else. So
Right.
nothing is good or bad within itself. You have to have the ability to be non-dual and have a non-divisive
Hmm.
nature, because you
Hmm.
can learn something from anybody. I don't care if it's a beggar on the street. I don't care if it's a rich man in a castle. I don't care if it's a Buddhist, Muslim, or
So,
whatever.
so
You
basically,
can
you're
learn
saying that
something.
any inanimate object is not good or bad in itself.
Nothing is good or bad
No,
in itself. People turn things to evil.
it
Just like
just is.
people,
Yeah. I mean, it depends
think
on your
that,
experience with the thing, which,
yeah,
Well, let's not
sometimes
say
will
that. Let's
taint
say
people's
any
perceptions.
object and or unconscious being or thing is not good or bad in and of itself, such as either A, tangibles, or B, intangibles, like a tangible, which is a phone, or B, an intangible like magic. You're saying that neither one of those can be good or bad in and of itself unless somebody who has consciousness, who is or is
right,
both
Hmm.
tangible and intangible. That's
exactly.
It's
okay.
true. Yeah, because, like, the Amish, they still live in a time where, they haven't even evolved. And they
Mm.
feel that, because of their beliefs, using
Those
running
kids probably got
water,
all kind of cell
electricity.
phones and everything else they're hiding in their,
Yeah.
their
Oh,
closets and stuff.
I've heard of some
They're not living
stuff.
that far.
I've seen a show, the Amish Mafia or something,
Oh
where
yeah, I
kids
watched
are
one
out in the
episode of
streets
that.
and they're like, they're sexually
Shaking folks
active.
down, yo,
They're right, like they're doing all this
gangsters.
stuff that's completely against what they stand for. But the people that still live in that think it's so, like, against their nature to be using electricity or running water,
Right.
or this or that. But this other side of the world has evolved and used it, and it's actually for your benefit. It could be for your benefit, or it could go against you, like some people that are living completely in a box, not seeing daylight, completely off the internet, unhealthy, kind of thing, and they fast food and stuff. That's like the extreme of it. The other extreme is like they use it for their work, they use it to grow and expand in their minds and stuff. But it's all depends in your perception.
And
Hmm.
see, that right there is why there was no reason for you to really worry about your parenting in the first place. Because to be honest, the most people who I've seen who have been the most messed up people are the people who are continuously sheltered and extremely sheltered from things like that. Just like my
Yeah.
friend I'll just leave it at that. We'll just leave it anonymousness,
Hmm.
like you say. She she has been sheltered by her parents for so long, and then she got to school and started doing all kind of crazy stuff and hanging out
Mhm.
with the wrong crowds and stuff like that. So I
Hmm.
mean,
Oh yeah, I've
but
definitely
she
seen
was
that.
breaking out of that shelter that she was under, and then
Mhm.
plus, she hadn't been exposed to a lot of the things that you know maybe what you would call the quote unquote average teenager in America had been exposed to. So I
Hmm.
think that just seeing that is why she wanted to get into that, and I think that that's another reason why when we had that conversation talking about how people who are in ancient types of cultures or who are still carrying over those old time ways, such as the Amish or some Islamic or some of those Hindu cultures might still have things that are not available to them, such as cell phones and some of the things that we have in more modern civilizations. So when they get their children to the United States or to France or to England, where it's more modernized, they can't continue to control their children because their children have never been exposed to things like that.
And
And
there's much more opportunity for them to come across it as well.
right.
Hmm.
So they see all that and they say, okay, well, wait a minute, we've never seen any of this before. We've never seen uh cars and running water, or like you said with the Amish, or we've never seen cell phones and these parties and things like that. So why should we listen to you know Abu Bar, who's telling us not to go participate in these things when all the people we see in school or all the people we see at the university are already, participating in these things. So let's see how far we can push the envelope before either A, our parents chop our noses off, or B, we, get out here and do our thing and nobody finds out. So, I mean,
Yeah, and I think that's in human nature anyways, or at least the adolescence time. Well, actually whenever, but depending on how you how much your willingness is for it to be curious of things. You can be curious of so much, but depending on how much like willingness to like really go for it and experience something, or to just stay a victim of a situation and being like, well, this is the way to go, and they told me this, so I mean, this is the way I'm supposed to be, instead of going out to finding out. But yeah, no, it could be detrimental because, like, I mean, my sister in middle school had a friend, her, the typical Spanish traditional family where the girls are not allowed to go anywhere. They're supposed to go with their, family. They're monitored and all this stuff. Turns out the one girl that, they were sheltering so much was sexually active, was the biggest drama queen. She snuck around. She found ways to do it, and what turned out like way worse than like what the parents probably intended.
Yeah.
But, and then I don't know. Like, there's so many situations that could be like that, but it's like you got to expose them, and I would think you'd want to expose them to give them your definition of it, because they're gonna go to the first person, I guess, that has knowledge on that and take their word for things. Better to walk them through it and give them at least a fair kind of, general definition of whatever it may be, just to, I don't know, quench their, curiosity or whatever. And yeah, just leave it be at that. And if they want to look into it, at least they have good information versus like a belief, a negative belief, a fear, and having them adopt it, which is what the biggest problem is, I think, in like the world, is people adopt other people's beliefs instead of making their own beliefs of whatever.
And I think that it's so good that I feel like I have a way of speaking to parents, because a lot of times people who are parents will come to me and they'll say, well, what do you think that, or what is it that that teenagers, in your generation are doing? More of the open-minded, parents who have teenagers or kids that are, just now coming around in this, time period. And a lot of times they'll come to me and they'll say, okay, well, what is it that we could do to improve our game and things like that? And I just tell them that, look, I was exposed to the white neighborhood, black neighborhood, Hispanic neighborhood, and all those things in between. And, I learned something from, the hood. I learned something from the middle class neighborhoods. I learned something from the police. I learned something from the doctors. I learned something from, the ex-cons. So, I mean, I feel like when you expose your kids to more, and you just expose people in general to more, I think that they, have more of an opportunity to express themselves as who they really are. Because if you're exposed to every opportunity out there, you're only going to choose so many of them before your moral compass that you have ingrained in your head, that's just your own moral compass, starts to sync up with who you truly are. And you're only going to go so far, or you're going to let it destroy you like some people have. But, I mean, that's, that's just the nature of the game. A lot of people have seen, and been exposed to so many different types of things that they just explode and they can't handle themselves, and they go out there and they end up getting hurt. But then some people, they go out and they, they experience things, and they, they learn a lot, and they, they choose things that are more, of a way for them to express themselves in a way that is a lot better. That's why, even despite the fact that I've had numerous opportunities to, drink and smoke and things like that, why would I choose those things when, first of all, I knew that if I was to do those things, what am I going to gain from that? And I realized that, why should I, go down that road, and why should I end up, in a place that I can't control it? Not saying that I would have turned out worse, not saying I would have turned out better, but the fact of the matter is, why should I open the door to allow myself to wander down to a path that I have no clue where I could potentially be going? So I think that some people just have that naturally ingrained, and I would thank you especially for, having those conversations. And I think that more parents should take that opportunity to educate their children on the reasons why some of those things that are out there, are out there, and the reasons to why they're not necessarily good. And I feel like if you leave the door open and you say, okay, now you can jump, or you can stay in safety, You want to jump or you want to stay in safety. But I think when you don't give somebody an opportunity to decide whether they want to stay in safety or jump, I think that when all you've ever been exposed to is that safety, what's saying, okay, let me go out here and try to jump because life is not really giving me anything right now, and I'm stuck in a box. So it doesn't really matter what's on the outside of the box as long as I'm outside of the box. And
that's a good example.
Yeah, and actually, I'm sorry to interrupt you because I just don't want this to slip, but I think it's because sometimes parents, they after a certain point stop challenging their kids to think, that when it's time for them to think, they go with something that may not be the best thing. They go along with the crowd because what do they usually go along with? Their parents, which is their their first and foremost examples of life and stuff. So they'll go along with the bigger crowd of people, instead of challenging their mind young and being like, well, hey, what do you think about this? If I told you about this existed in the world, what do you think about it? Is that silly? Is that crazy? What do you think? Is that beneficial? Challenging their mind might get them to start really understanding things in a bigger, bigger scale of things. I don't know. I mean, that just crossed my mind. I don't know if that makes sense.
I would say that I think that the best and the most, I think that the most reliable and trusty way of parenting is just like you would, be the boss of a company. You wouldn't abuse your employees, but you would also, you would make sure that they maintain that level of, efficacy to where they feel like they're important and they feel like they can, express themselves. But at the same time, they also understand that there's a hierarchy and there's a way that things are done, within the household to where they understand, that this thing, and this thing can be done without, any consequences, and that you can, go do that, but understand that this will be the consequence that you will run into, first of all, with maybe even the law, or, with diseases or things like that if you go and take that step. So it's up to you to make that decision.
Right. Definitely.
What's going on?
Who that?
Where's that coming from?
Who that is? Who that is talking in my webcast? I'm just playing. Anyway, so yeah, I mean, wow. Well, we definitely covered a whole lot of different topics. Well, I mean, we've got about 10 minutes left. I didn't know if you guys had any additional things you wanted to share, because let me see, we started, well, no, I'm so sorry. We're up to an hour, almost an hour and a half. I'm sorry. I mean, we could go to 2 hours if you guys want to continue on with whatever. Let's see.
Yeah, it doesn't really matter to me. Y'all know I'm an open encyclopedia, so.
I'm cool. I'm cool to stay another half hour.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I just wanted to make sure. I just want to make sure everybody wasn't getting tired or something like that. I mean, I did have something else on non-duality, which is really cool, which I really feel like is really, really super key to, manifesting or whatever. But I was just wanting to say, too, I noticed that we had a couple of viewers that kind of came and went or whatever, but I also wanted to also mention that we do have a question and answer link. So if there is someone watching, they can actually post their questions and we can actually answer them. I haven't really played with it that much, but they can ask questions if they care to, and I think they're going to appear in that right-hand corner. Because if you notice in your apps, there's like a Q&A app. But I just want to kind of throw that out there just in case anybody else was listening. But anyway,
okay, so, but I'm actually about to go take a shower soon.
Oh, okay.
And then, well, first I think I should exercise, and then I'm going to take a shower after. I have to do that.
Yeah, well, yeah, I mean, that would, logically, but like I say, that's just a logical
entire,
Wait, are you actually sweating during the exercise?
Huh?
I said, are you actually going to be sweating during the exercise?
Of course. No, I'm just going to be
Why is your mouth moving, but words are coming afterwards?
She's lagging.
I don't know. It's like sync, yeah. But yeah, I'm going to probably
This looks like one of those Chinese theater movies where your mouth is moving, but your words are not coming out.
Oh, like the ninja films?
Yeah.
Okay, but let me get off now. Because I'm going to have to pick up my grandma soon from the airport.
Oh, my goodness.
Around 9. No, around 10:30, 11 or so.
Oh, awesome. Okay.
Ooh. Go ahead,
Yeah.
Grandma. Traveling thing.
I know, right? Sounds
So
good to
I
me.
Up in New York.
But yeah, I mean,
Ooh,
I
that's
still do
cool.
have a little bit of good information on, beliefs and feelings and emotional reactions and things like that. So, yeah, I mean, I just
Okay.
wanted to kind of lead into that just in case, but
Well, I'll
whatever.
be here, no problem, and it's all good. I think we covered a lot anyway, so
Yeah,
if you're ready to go, Amar, no
well, I
worries.
have a
yeah.
scandal to watch, so I mean.
Wow.
Excuse me. He
You
thinks
realize
I
that
he's
Olivia
more
know.
Pope got
important, huh?
kidnapped? Come
Okay.
on now.
He said Olivia Pope got kidnapped. All right, well, I guess we're
Oh
going to go
gosh.
ahead and wrap this thing up. We're just going to do an hour and a half segment
Okay.
this time, and then we can just pick up with any new revelatory information the next time.
Got it.
So we will say namaste at this point. Blessings to all.
All right, everyone.
Yes. And so everyone have a good night.
Peace.
So I'm just going to stop the
All right.
broadcast. If you guys still want to talk, then hey. All right. This is Tala. Thank you so much for watching Middle Magic.
Bye, everyone.